up a phone and say, you know, the smartest person is the person you pick up a phone and say, Aaron, by the way, what's the capital of Bulgaria? You know, and you would tell us because you're the smartest person. Or you would run across the road to a place where there are encyclopedias and you'd look through the encyclopedias. You asked Tseko now for a joke, she didn't have to think of one. She just said, I'll Google it, right? So today, information, regardless of what it is at the touch of a button. If you want to know what the capital of Bulgaria is, et cetera, et cetera. And yet we're still teaching our kids that level of automative thinking that is not applicable, which is why they're challenged.
Sure. That is so beautiful what you said, and you put a hard knock there. I was having an interaction. I was invited to a board meeting yesterday of an NGO that teaches children how to read. They've realized that the schooling system actually does not have the right environment for all children to learn how to read. And so they set in place this NGO to teach, to go into the schools and give extra classes, half an hour twice a week, to encourage the kids to learn to read. And this is what they disclosed to me. This is what they disclosed, on top of the fact that the pass rate is 33%, which is mad when you think about it. They actually disclosed to me that the reading system is from about 1 to 10, something around the lines of that. And in order to pass from one grade to another, you gotta reach a reading level of about, when you're in grade 1, of about 4, right? And so what they do is that the teachers are not allowed to give a 1 by the government. The government does not allow the teachers to give a 1. So if you can't read at all, then you should get a 1. But the government does not allow you. So you put them on a 4 or on a 3. That's the minimum you're allowed to give them. And so these people eventually pass from one grade to another, and then they get to grade 7, for example. They were shocked to, there's people in grade 7 who still don't know how to read. Yep. And so what they do, and the teachers can't change that. And that's the archaic system you're talking about, where it's not so much school that is not relevant. It's not the institution. It is the curriculum that is being used, the models that are being used that are completely archaic. And for the young guys listening to you right now, that means it's too old. And I was quite curious to hear your answer, but you said with confidence that no, it's no longer relevant because they're teaching us a process-based sort of knowledge, which is, you know, when you talk about Fordism, Henry Ford and all of these people, they used to work in chain, right? So you do this and then you do this, and they had to sit down and remember how to do that. And that was the way it was done. But today we are still taught in the same fashion, but the world around us doesn't work in the same way. I love that. That's incredible. Vic, if you allow me, and I'm going to come to Tseko and just ask you your experience about school as well. But there are questions that I bumped that I just keep on coming, and I think let's take some of them as we go, if that's okay. Because they're listening to the things that you're saying, and they're actually highlighting something in the question. So this is a great question that I have. Early on was, you know, what was your favorite country, the favorite country you lived in, and why was it your favorite country?
Oh, beautiful question. I love it. So my favorite country was Zimbabwe. I was there for 5 years. I still consider it home. And the reason is a very easy one, but an interesting one. We had just come from Mozambique. I had spent 1 year in Swaziland schooling at a school called Salesian, where I was bullied a lot. So that certainly wasn't it was so bad I haven't even been back to Swaziland since the late 80s.
Sorry to hear that.
And then there was my school in Mozambique called the International School. Mozambique was the most traumatic experiences we ever had as a family. I don't think my parents did the due diligence in terms of education and what we were going to experience there. But just the whole country was going through some major, major challenges. There were massive food shortages. And we had just come from Scotland, which was in Europe, you know, living la vida loca. Everything was great. We went into a country that was in 1980 that was independent for 5 years because they were independent in 1975 and found this disaster. And then my dad says to us, oh, we're going to Zimbabwe. And our normal question was, well, how long have they been independent? And he said 2 years. And we went, oh, this is going to be even worse. But it turned out to be the breadbasket of Africa. In other words, the most successful, country in Africa at the time. It was beautiful. It was amazing. I grew up there and didn't want to leave, but I had to at some point. But that was my favorite country and continues to be to this day.
So if there's any Zimbabwean listening to us right now, that is what your country used to be, and that is what your country can still be. And that's why we need you guys to join this today. Just because we're halfway through the webinar, time goes by so quickly. It's already almost half an hour. Can you believe it, since we started? And so because time goes by quickly, Tejo is with us. And so I'm going to come back, and there's 3 more questions from the audience that I'm going to ask in a bit. But Tejo, you finished school probably not as long ago as Vic. Tell us, what is your experience? What was your experience of school? Do you think it's still relevant, in your opinion, when considering that it's so recent for you?
Hi there.
Hello.
Are you okay?
Have we lost you?
You have muted yourself. So I
did. Can you now?
We can hear you. We can't see you though, but we can hear you.
It's lagging a bit on my side, so I couldn't catch the question.
Thank you, no problem. So a similar question to the one I was asking Vic about your experience of school. So do you think school, for someone who finished school not like 50 years ago, do you feel like it's still relevant, in your opinion, because you have a more recent experience?
Hi, everyone. So thanks for the question. So I matriculated in 2010, and I must agree with you, Uncle Vic. He mentioned that he feels like it's a little other education, or the curriculum is a little outdated, and I absolutely agree, because it doesn't necessarily prepare you for what our reality is right now. I think I'm pretty certain what the high schoolers are studying or learning right now is the same curriculum we probably went through like 10 years ago. So I don't think we've evolved our education system as much as we need to, because whether we want to admit it or not, whether we like it or not, we are in the 4th industrial revolution, and we need to equip ourselves with the relevant skills in order to make like proper livelihoods for ourselves and for the youth as well. Because I can imagine how discouraged they must be feeling when they see that, okay, the world is moving so fast, but they're still learning what we used to learn. That doesn't make sense. So I think with regards to the curriculum, it needs to be improved like drastically in order for them to be better equipped for what's coming.
Sure. Here's one. You said something beautiful. You said, yes, we're learning a lot of things in high school at the moment, in primary school, all of that, but it does not prepare you for the real world. It doesn't prepare you for not just the real world, but also the world of tomorrow, because this world is changing. I mean, next year is going to be a different world. It does not prepare you for that. And it's good to hear that, guys that are listening, it's good to hear that from her, because she just finished in 2010. That's not such a long time ago. And she's already telling you what she learned there did not even prepare her for her right now that she's living. And what about you, what you're learning right now? How is that equipping you for your tomorrow? And so very, very good. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to go into 1 or 2 more questions, and we're just going to try to ration our time. But for Vic, we have this question. We went for the favorite country you lived in. The guys online, by the way, thank you for asking the questions. We're enjoying your questions, and Vic is going to smash these questions. And if you have any question for Tejo, because she's also a lot younger, so she can relate to your problems, feel free to send them through. Here's a question. The question for Vikela: apart from being consistent in starting a new business as an entrepreneur, how did you reach new buyers? And how did you build the strategy when you started? How did you build the strategy when you started, and how did you reach out to new buyers or new clients? I guess that's what they're trying to say.
Well, I love the subject and I love the question. So no, I didn't build a strategy when I started. I started when we started, there was no strategy. We built the strategy as we were starting. And I want to emphasize that, guys, in more ways than one. Yes, you need to have some kind of construct, but remember, when you are actually thinking about entrepreneurship, it should be starting off as very simple because it needs to start from two things. One, a skill you're very good at, and two, a purpose-driven reason. In other words, you're fulfilling a need that is in society that comes from something that you are passionate about. And then you learn the skill of how to fulfill that need. So once you've got that, example, people need magwinya, and I'm good at baking. So guess what? The two go together. The rest is about how do I commercialize it and how do I make money from it. So that's the first thing. The next thing is that you've got to keep moving with the construct of how do we improve? That's when you get a pen and paper and say, okay, I'm making magwinya, but maybe I need to change the kind of constitution of it in terms of flour and water, et cetera, et cetera. I'm making magwinya and maybe I need to sell it not just to my parents, but to people around me. That's the strategy. That's the construct of a strategy. Don't get too convoluted about MBA strategies and all that sort of thing, because what you want to do as an entrepreneur is apply what it is that you're doing. And as you're applying it, learn from it. And as you're learning from it, then deconstruct it or reconstruct it as necessary.
You know, guys, watching us right now, that was a question from Fiona, by the way. Thank you for that question, Fiona. There's an incredible book called The Lean Startup. It's actually a model that is very similar to what Vikela is talking about, which is, you know, a lot of people wait to have the perfect product before they can market it. And Lean Startup says you don't have to have the perfect product, because when it's perfect and then you go to market it, you realize that people don't like it. Then you spend so much money in perfecting something that nobody likes. Instead, go through stage one and then try to sell it. See how many people like it, how many don't. Improve before you spend all your money on making a perfect product. And then as you go, you test, you improve, you test, you improve. And that's essentially what he's saying. And one more thing that you said that I think is mind-blowing, you said you just started. And that's why even in my book, I talk about the entrepreneurs and the entrepreneurs. The entrepreneur, they want to start. And they have all these ideas. They even put them on paper. They draw maps. They draw all the right stuff, but they never get to a place they actually do it. You don't get rewarded for having ideas. Anybody can have ideas. You get rewarded for applying your ideas into something concrete. That is when you get rewarded. And so that's what he's talking about. He just got started. He just started. And then the rest, he figured it out as he went. I love that, Vikela. Here's another question from Melusi. Melusi says, when you started, and this is somebody from Zimbabwe, so hashtag to someone from Zimbabwe, because he loves Zimbabwe, favorite country. He says, when you started in entrepreneurship, what inspired you to do what you do? How did you get the inspiration? What inspired you?
That's a beautiful question. And I just want to add what Seko put in the comment here. What we talk about at Value Add is we build a plane whilst we're flying. We take off, we've got no windows, no doors, no chairs. We just build it as we're flying it. That's the whole idea of getting started.
Yes.
What inspired, that's a brilliant question, because that also talks to your why. There's a real deep thing that when you start understanding your passion, you start questioning the why of your passion. Why am I so passionate about this thing that I'm doing? And that's what we call your why. And why I started this was simply because of my childhood and my background and my exactly what, Aaron was saying right earlier. I was considered least likely to succeed at school. I failed my equivalent of matric, and I failed it badly. But when I transitioned back to the UK from Zimbabwe, I met teachers and I met educators who taught me very differently. And I realized that I'm not really as bad as I thought I was, or I'm not really as bad as I'm made out to be. And I passed the next year, Aaron. I passed with 3 B's and a C, or D, I can't remember, one of it. But the point that made me so passionate about this is that I believe deep down within you, there is what you are meant to be. And that's what I discovered about me. And I'm so passionate about making sure that that is revealed, that comes up, that is elevated. And it becomes the focus of why you're on this planet, why you're breathing, why you're living. That is why I do what I do. It's just a real ingrained passion of mine to try and help you find the best version of who you are.
Sure. I love that. I love that. If you have a strong why, that will be enough to ignite inspiration, to ignite passion in you. And so if you want to be inspired, you got to find your why. Your why, if you have a strong why, you will be inspired. And I love what Teho put in the comment. You guys can't see our comments, but she put a, Teho, can you, I know Vic mentioned that, but can you, what's your version of of building the plane while flying? What's your version of that?
My version of that is an experience that I had at Value Ed. So I'm not, when I first joined Value Ed, I'm not someone who was familiar with web design or building websites. But Uncle Vic has always just given us opportunities as Value Edians to upskill ourselves. So when the incubation business idea came about, and we knew that we wanted all of these businesses to be online businesses, you know, you needed to upskill yourself and learn how to build websites. And I was chosen, I was given the opportunity to learn how to build websites. And it's been an incredible experience for me, because remember, I know nothing about web building. And because of the belief that Uncle Vic instilled in me, I was able to push myself to try. And because I tried, I'm able to build websites now, you know. So we're building the plane while flying it. And with regards to, you know, the incubation businesses as well, we've also tried to get our other Value Edians on board so that they can, you know, monetize these skills, these talents that they have. And we have, you know, tutors, for instance. We have a valued tutoring, and in that business, we have someone who's built that website. She also didn't know how to build websites, but because of the opportunity, she was given the platform to do so. So she, like at Value Ed, our drive is to build the plane while flying it. So even if you don't know what you're doing, just try. You never know, you might be really good at it. So it turns out I'm a great web builder.
Yeah,
because I tried.
Sure.
Absolutely.
You get nothing if you don't try, guys. You gotta try. And the worst that could happen is you finding out this is not for you. Better yet, you know yourself better in an area you didn't know. So you can cross off, this is not for me, up to the next one. And so we got a question. Somebody sent a question for Tejo, and we're gonna get to that question. Thank you for sending in the question for Tejo. But before that, we have another guest speaker who has not had a chance. Liema, can you hear us loud and clear this time? Liema, are you there? All right, Liema, just put a message in the comment section if you can hear us. And then would love to introduce you to the platform as well. And guys, sorry, on my side, maybe I didn't introduce that properly, but Vikela is basically the CEO of an organization called Value Ed, right? Value Ed, it's an amazing organization. I'm not gonna ask him to tell us more about it. Tejo is, and this is the organization that she's part of. But Tejo, I want you to share briefly, where were you a year ago? After, you know, you went through school, you did your school, you did all of that stuff. But unfortunately, it was not enough for you to discover sort of where you really fit into this big place called the world, right? And so a year ago, you were not where you are now. And something happened to you. So tell us, where were you? What happened to you? And where are you now? Are you there, Tejo? Can you hear me?
This is just after I said to her that we can hear her. I think she's just frozen a bit.
Yeah, she's slow. I don't think she heard the question. Tejo, did you hear the question that I asked?
No, save it for her. She will be back.
Okay, we're just going to save it for her. But while Tejo is joining us in a bit, here's a harder question for you, Vic. Here's a very difficult question.
Please ask it again.
I'm going to come back to it just now, Tejo. Glad to have you back.
It was really bad. Apologies for that.
No problem, not a problem. It's all good. As I said to everybody, the rain is not amazing. And so the connection is not going to be the best. And please, we enjoy your patience. Here's a question for you, Vic. A lot of young people watching us right now are wondering about their future, right? And we talk about the future a bit, but I want to dive into that. The future where TikTok is the king and everything is advancing so fast, right? There's a few young people currently studying for their future today. But how do they prepare for tomorrow when what they're studying right now does not prepare them for that tomorrow? So what do you suggest? What are your thoughts around that?
Entrepreneur leaders. Exactly what you've created, the school. What we're going to have to start doing as individuals is becoming futurists in terms of assessing what's coming. You know, you talked about the different industrial revolutions. What's coming? What's going to impact us? And then going to find institutions like your leadership school, which is going to give us grounding in some of the stuff that we need. Unfortunately, where you have a situation where young people are at school or at college and are studying, that's fine. That's not going to waste. It's just that you need to supplement that with what's actually on the ground, and that's what your school offers. The challenge is that, look, it's difficult times, yes, but it's the most opportune time, young people. It's the most opportune time. If I can tell you 50 years ago, my parents didn't ask us what we're going to study, and they told us what we're going to study. Yeah. There were no words like passion and purpose in our growing up. It was, this is what you're going to do because it earns money. And as a consequence, a lot of people from my generation are not doing what they studied. The other thing was that for you to really want to do something, say you wanted to become a dressmaker and own a dress store, the process to do that was so difficult. You had to get a loan from a bank. You had to convince somebody to give you rental space in a mall. You had to wait. Today, everything is digitalized. If you want to be somebody who makes outfits and sells them, you can sell them online. You don't need to go and get a loan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You don't even have to even mention it to anybody. You can take selfies of yourself now, Aaron, and make money, right? So the opportunities of today are massive. And behind that, there are schools like yours that will teach you the rudimentaries of entrepreneurship. Now, you must understand the rudimentaries of entrepreneurship. You must understand customers, you must understand money, you must understand those kind of things. Yeah. Right? Schools like yourself give you that because that's constant. But their ability for you to sit there and go, I want to teach people how to do handstands. I'm passionate about handstands, right? And I'm not saying this is a joke. There's a gentleman, Kyle Weiger, look him up. He's got a following of 10,000 members. He charges them $10 on membership fees plus other fees. And he's making over $2 million in the US teaching people how to do handstands, teaching people how to learn how to do their nails, teaching people how to stretch. You see it in Facebook when you scroll through, you see all the different opportunities. So the world of opportunity for you to say, I'm passionate about this, and I really believe in this, and how do I then deliver that so that I can commercialize it and make a rand or two, is more opportune today than it ever was.
Sure. I love that. There's more opportunity today than there ever was. I love that. And you are absolutely right. If school is not enough, don't blame the school. You got to take responsibility. It's not the school's future, it's your future. So we are having this conversation. Guys watching us online right now, please hear me. We are having this conversation because we are telling you your future is actually not in the hands of your school. It's not even in the hands of your parents. It's actually in your hands. There might be a lot of restrictions left and right, and that we can't change. But one thing we can change is what you do with your time and what you do with the opportunities that are made available to you. You all have access to a cell phone. You all have access to data. You all have access to all of these things. And we're saying there's companies like Value Aid, and I want to tell you this, guys, Value Aid, these incredible organization and Entrepreneur Leaders School have actually partnered together. And you can now do Value Aid courses on Entrepreneur Leaders School website. You get to see some of their courses, and you get to do it with us at a very, very affordable price. And these organizations are put in place not for us to make money, but for us to make sure the youth of today is equipped for their future. I want you guys to bear that in mind. And there's an audience with us, and you guys are the most important people here today. And so I'm going to ask, guys, I'm going to come to your questions right now, but your question linked to the question that I have for Tshepo. And so I'm going to ask Tshepo the question that will probably answer some of your questions. So I got a question from, I've got a question here about a question for Tshepo, a question about passion, and a third one right here. So I'm going to get to it, Garcia. There's a question from you about capital. How do you start with that money? I'm going to come to your question, Garcia. Do not think I've forgotten you. But here's the thing, and I want you guys to learn from this. Tshepo, you went to school, right? You went through the whole thing, finished school in 2010. I don't know if you went to a college, to university, but I know after that, things didn't quite go your way to some extent until a year ago.
Yeah.
And so a year ago, something happened, and today you are where you are. Tell me, or at least tell us, what happened when you finished school? And then what happened to you about a year ago? And where are you now? I want to hear that story.
Yeah, so I didn't really have a plan. My main concern or my main priority was just getting my matric, passing matric, and then going to the next level, which is, tertiary education. So I did really well, passed matric. And the next step, I'm like, okay, so what am I supposed to do in my life? So you have to think about all of that. And I think we're not necessarily taught that or encouraged to think about your future or your career while you're in high school. Like, yes, you get to an institution where they give you an X amount of subjects. And it's either you decide whether you want to go the business route or you want to go the science route. It doesn't really give you room to move around or to assist or help you figure out what you're good at, what your talent, just skills that you actually have. We're not given the opportunity to work on that, to figure out who we are in order to make a living, because of our purpose or our passion. So after high school, I studied business management. It was at a private college. Then that was for 3 years. And then after that, I was working part-time while studying. So I was in retail for a bit. After that, I became a receptionist at a gym, but I was just still unfulfilled because yes, I studied business. Yes, I have this qualification, but I just don't know what my purpose is, what my passion is, what's next? What am I supposed to be doing with my life? So over a year ago, a friend of mine introduced me to this platform because I was in between jobs trying to figure out what the next step was going to be. And because I wasn't sure about what my purpose was, what my passion was, I had, lost self-belief in myself. My confidence was really low because, oh my gosh, it's not going to get better. Or you feel like you get to a point where you feel like things aren't going to get better. So you just need to settle for maybe not that we're looking down on those professions, but maybe a job in retail, it would be enough. But I knew that I just wanted to do so much more because my purpose or my passion lies in helping people. So when I was introduced to Value Ed and this incredible platform, its purpose is to inspire the youth, and that's something that stood with me or something that encouraged me. Because I know that you can be in a place where you want to improve your life, but you don't have the means to do so, or you're not inspired, or you're just so demotivated, just in a very weird place. And one of the conversations that we always have is around mental health, because you get to a point where you're so discouraged. You experience, depression, anxiety. And I think it's the same in the business world as well. As an entrepreneur, you get to a point where you go, okay, I want to start this business because your friend is doing something. So you want to copy your friend, and that's not your purpose, and if it's to be yours, you're going to come across lots of obstacles, and it's going to be difficult for you to go over or overcome those obstacles because you're trying to fulfill someone else's purpose and it's not yours.
Yeah.
So when I joined Value Ed, it just gave me the platform to be able to help people. I was a Value Edian first before I became a Chief Excellence Officer at Value Ed. And I feel so fulfilled each and every day when we have these sessions and, our Value Edians go, actually, I didn't think of it that way. Or I'm inspired to start a business because of the online business, the online membership approach. No, actually, it's called the Digital Biz CEO course now. And they go, actually, I'm inspired because of that. Or the self-mastery course even. They go, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. My purpose, I was just stuck, like me. So I see myself in our value areas. I see myself in the youth. And if I'm able to give them life or give them meaning to life, because it's not as bad as we think it is.
Nope.
Yes, things may be tough, but there's always light at the end of a tunnel. The sun will always come out after it rains. And I think Value Ed is just that platform that inspires you to be so much more. And I'm a product of Value Ed. So I'm just really, really grateful to Uncle Vic for seeing me. And yeah, I'm just really excited.
That's incredible. You guys understand that she finished high school brilliantly. So all the academic, all the nice things that you guys want to have, those that are doing finishing matric in a few years or next year or this year, she did all of that, guys. And I know we have some entrepreneur students joining us online. A big up to you guys, a hoo-hoo to you guys, entrepreneur students. We're really glad that you guys are connecting and sending through the questions. But she did that. She did all the things in high school, right? And still, after high school, she could not fit in. And that's what we're talking about. Academic education not being enough. She couldn't fit in. And she did go. She did study business management in college. She did do that. So she ticked all the right boxes, You got to finish school, do this. She did all of that. But unfortunately, she still could not find a purpose, could not find where she'd fit in. And she did side jobs that were maybe a way of making a living, but there was no meaning to it. There was no purpose in these things. And that's what we don't want for you guys. And eventually she joined an organization. Despite the fact that she had a college degree, she decided to supplement her knowledge with something else, something new. And she joined Value Ed, did the courses, and eventually found herself there. And today she's a chief excellence officer, something that I'm sure she never dreamt she would be. Her parents wouldn't even know what it means to be a chief excellence officer. What does that even mean?
Like...
a CEO, but not a CEO, like a different, this is a new form of CEO, right? But because she allowed herself to be supplemented, and schools like Entrepreneur School, schools like Value Ed, and there's many more out there for you, are there to supplement you to be ready for the real world. And so, Vic, we got this question and then the next question for Tejo, but we got this question for Garcia. And this is what Garcia is asking, all the way from Angola, is asking, with no capital, how can you possibly start a business successfully?
Very good question, Garcia, and thank you for it. I want you all to think about businesses in a completely different light. And I think with the school that Aaron runs, I'm sure that's also encapsulated in there. I want you to think, when we think business, we're thinking of large-scale businesses, right? We're thinking of things that require capital, they require infrastructure, etc. Folks, absolutely anything is a business. And I'm going to give you a very interesting statistic that's just going to make you think for a little bit. In the United States, there are 31 million small businesses, right? 31 million small businesses. Of the 31 million small businesses, 26, and small business is any business that employs 500 people or less. 500 people or less.
Yeah.
Of the 31 million people, the businesses in the US, 26 million are one-man businesses.
Wow.
26 million are businesses with just one man, one lady, one woman, not employing anybody. How many businesses are there that employ over 500 people? The Amazons and the Googles and the Facebooks, there's only 167,000 of them. 31 million are small businesses.
Wow.
So when we think business, you've got to think mama, papa. You've got to scale it all the way down to what am I doing and what do I want to do? So if I want to cook food, how do I get food, right, that I love cooking to somebody like Aaron who likes eating it? right? That's what we call a operating model, cooking food. Delivery model, how do I get it to Aaron? Commercial model, how does he pay me for it, right? So that's the starting block. To start a business like that can start at 200 rands or nothing, because all I need to do is I need to cook once and invite Aaron and charge him 1,000 rands for my meal. Okay, he might not pay for it, right? Then I've got capital, right? And then after I've got that capital, I say, Aaron, please come with your wife. I can now cook for 2 of you. Please pay 2,000 rands. Now I've got 2,000 rands. Then I say, Aaron, have you got friends? Can you bring them, 5 of them? So there are different ways of starting without capital, and also digitalize your business. If you can digitalize, Tseko, you were talking about incubation business. How much is a website? A website, you pay 200-300 rands a month for it. And on a website, you can sell anything and everything. How much does it cost for you to Twitter? Nothing. How much does it cost for you to Instagram? Nothing. How much does it cost for you to Facebook? These are all social media sites where you can market what it is that you're doing. So I'm trying to bring your mind down, because you're using big words like capital and all. I know that's what they're teaching at schools, Aaron. That's what, that's what they're teaching at schools. They're teaching capital and business plans. What you want to do is say, what do I love doing? What is it that I'm really passionate about? How do I create an operating model? How do I do that? How do I put it together? How do I deliver that to somebody, whatever it is, through digital mechanisms? And how do I commercialize it? How do I make money from it?
Start simple. You can start. That's why even our mission statement or vision statement in Entrepreneurs is what? Think big. So it's good to think big, but start small and lead to impact, or lead with impact. You got to always start small. You got to scale it down to something small. And just a quick comment for Tejo. There's Yolanda who says, Tejo, you are so inspirational. Thank you for your input today. And then quick question. So bearing in mind, we got 2 minutes left. So this is what I'm going to ask you guys. We're supposed to finish at 4. I'm going to ask everybody to give us an extra 5 minutes, because there's actually a key question that I want to ask Vic. It's just going to bless you guys. Here's Richard asking, and we're going to try to manage this time, but Richard is asking, how does one keep on going on the long run? How do you expand your offering? And Richard is one of the entrepreneurs, if I'm not mistaken, that's one of the entrepreneurs student, and he's actually doing really well, making decent money at the moment with his business, but he's asking, how do you scale up your offering so that you can be sustainable in the long run?
Oh, great question. We're doing that at Value Add ourselves. And this is why I talk about building your business plan as you progress. One of the ways, I'll tell you how we're doing it, right? It's a need assessment. When you scale up, you've got to assess the need. Why are you scaling up? And for what need are you scaling up? So I'll give you an example. We started with 1 course in Value Add. Hey, Tseko, wow. 1 course. We currently have 18 courses. Why do we have 18 courses in less than 2 years in terms of scaling? Because there was a need for that requirement. So when we assessed the need, actually the need fell on our laps most of the time, but when we assessed the need, we said that our growing or our expanding is a consequence of requiring scaling, right? Sure. So how does Value Add scale? It can't be just Vic speaking on 1 course all the time. That's not going to scale anything, right? But if we can look around and understand the needs of what Vic is within what you are doing, right? It's important, because sometimes you scale up and you go and do something completely different, and it throws a monkey wrench in your whole plan. Within what we're doing, what else can we offer that gives a different audience or the same audience more breadth and width?
Come on.
And if you come to that kind of decision-making processes, then you're still within your why. What am I doing? You're still within your skill base, right? And you're still within your passion. I'm very passionate about all our courses, and that I've never imagined them 18 months ago. Aaron. I'd have never imagined them 18 months ago. And every time we think, oh, but now we need this. And I just want to end off just by saying, folks, in your DNA, the moment you find that thing that you're so passionate about, this whole universe conspires for you. So the things that start, that's why I say they fell on our lap. It's not like we were really deeply thinking about these things and had strategy sessions. We must scale, we must grow. It just became automatic to say, hey, let's do this next. Let's do that next. And I encourage you to just find that sweet spot of yourself. Ask yourself why. Make sure you stay within your passion and purpose. And if you do that, whatever you scale, boom.
Sure. That's incredible. Actually, Richard, shout out to you. I was confirmed here. This is Richard from Mad Dogs. And what he does is he started an incredible business that is quite simple. And he started in his early 20s. I think it was about 20 when he started, or 19 when he started. And what he does is he does dog walking. So he's trained himself, and I've seen him at work. He's like a dog whisperer. So anybody listening to us right now, he does it in the top areas of Cape Town, in the Camps Bay, Clifton, all of these areas. He walks these people's dogs. When they go on holiday, he's there, and he's managed, listen to this, to build a team. He did ELS in 2020. So I saw a few people walking down the street at the beach. I saw a few people with Mad Dogs. I'm like, this is not Richard, but this is his company.
I wanna meet him. Please let me meet him. You are an inspiration to me. I want to meet you so that you inspire me.
Come on, Richard.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And I hope everybody's heard that. That is the level of thinking. If you love dogs and then you come up with there's a book, there's a movie, there's all sorts of things. You need to think of something. That's cool. So you've made my weekend. You've made my weekend.
Absolutely. I want to shout out to some of the entrepreneurs. So we got Melusi, who started his podcast station. He's doing all the motivational talk to young teenagers, going through matric and exams, because he's gone through that and he didn't have the encouragement that was needed. So now he's busy encouraging people. You guys can check out Melusi Pod Influence that is going. There's so many of them that have started businesses. It's incredible. And Vic, he just sent a comment to say, this is Richard. He said, I would love to meet you, Vikela. So I'm definitely we're going to organize that meeting with Richard. That's incredible. And guys, we got Liema with us. She can't speak because the network is so bad. It's raining, it's pouring. In some areas of Cape Town, there's a storm happening. But I'm going to share as we conclude. I have this one question first for Vikela, then I'm going to finish with Liema's story and why she's here. But Vikela, you keep on saying, once you find that thing, right? And I'm sure Tero heard it as well. Once you find that thing is called purpose, right? That thing is called my thing, my it. How do you find that? How do I find that thing,
Brilliant question. And I just want to say to all the other entrepreneurs, you really have, you're just, you're the future. You make me so proud for you to be able to go out there and start things. How do you find your thing? You spend time with you. You spend time with you. There's a thing called a brain. This thing here is one of the greatest computers ever. Inside it is implanted the DNA of who you are. You know how in the same way when the fetus met the ovary, your eyes were in the right place, your ears were in the right place, your hands were in the right place, your lungs, your kidneys, your liver, your blood, everything was already predestined in terms of who you were going to be without any work from you. Within you, you are brought on this planet for a very specific reason. And the way to understand who you are is to spend time with who you are, undistracted. The world is full of distractions. And the challenge about finding yourself is you're not going to find it whilst you're tweeting or Instagramming or doing this, that, and the other. You need to ask yourself constant questions. You need to ask the closest people around you constant questions and ask them, what do you think I am good at? This is what I feel I'm passionate about. And by the way, it's a broad spread. And that's why I like the dog story, because people never think about that as I'm passionate about animals, I'm passionate about dogs. It could be anything. So the moment you start, it's there. It's waiting for you to connect with you. But you must spend time with yourself. Put aside 10, 15 minutes every day, switch off everything, and just take a piece of paper and say, Vikela Rankin, who am I? What do I want to be? And in that journey of revealing who you are meant to be, it'll start coming slowly but surely. It doesn't pop up and you wake up one morning and go, yay, this is who I'm meant to be. It starts revealing itself. It starts expanding itself. You know, the young man who's running the dog is now talking about dogs, is talking about an expansion of dogs. Before, there was a conversation about what is it that he wants to do. That revealing and expansion, that's the process that happens. So I encourage you to spend time with you. It's in you. You will know it. It's there. You'll know what I'm passionate about the climate. I'm passionate about music. I'm passionate about something, whatever it is. Find out what it is that takes your real interest. That if I would ask you, if you did and you were not paid for it, what would it be? Because you enjoy it so much. And once you know that, let it reveal itself by spending more time with yourself. That's how you find out more about yourself. Tseko put here your ikigai. Your ikigai is a Japanese terminology that expresses your reason for being.
Yeah.
Your reason for being. It's what you love, what you're good at, what you can get paid for, right? All those things. What is it that you love? And what is it that you're good at? Find out those two things only, bring them together, and then you've got the start of building an operating model.
Sure, I love that. Your ikigai is what you love, what you're good at, what you can be paid for, and more importantly, what the world needs.
And what the world
needs. Yes, when you can identify all of these things, where they meet together, that's where you find your purpose. And I want to add to this. I want to add to this. Don't be distracted, but be intentional about exposing yourself to things that are not part of your everyday. Be intentional about trying things that you've never tried. Be intentional about getting out of that comfort zone. So we have the beautiful story that inspired a lot of you guys, the story of Seho. What did she do? She didn't know about value aid. She didn't know she could design websites. She had a pre-programmed mindset about where she could be, where she needed to be. Probably the parents said, study this. This is a normal way to do things. But she allowed herself to be exposed to something new. And as a result, she found herself there. The very same thing happened to me, and that's how come I am where I am, because I exposed myself to what is not my everyday plate of food. And so allow yourself to discover, be creative, be curious. Curiosity is very important. You might just stumble on a mine of gold. And because we are running out of time, let me tell you quickly about Liema. Liema is about 15 years old. We met her at a school she's a young entrepreneur from Kailicha. Actually, we met her at a school in Sea Point, and she was a top academic student. She was getting all the awards. You know, she had all of these necklaces. Her neck was even falling down because she had too many medals. And then we approached her and said, would you like to study? And I was invited to speak at a graduation. What do you call that? There's a term for that. And after that, I was so mesmerized by how hardworking she was. And I knew that these kind of people, there's a lot more to them than just academics. So I approached her and her mom, and I said, would you like to become an entrepreneur? Just like that. And she said, I've never thought about it, but why not? And I told her about Entrepreneur School. And what she did, she applied right away. The same night, she applied, she sent through her details, and she was accepted. And she was the most bubbly person. She was so passionate. And before anybody else in that class, she started a business called Healthy Bites. And if I'm not mistaken, her business is about baking. She says a lot of people love eating bakery in a community, but they're incredibly unhealthy. It's all the bakery with glutens and all the other stuff. And she said, I would love for my community to get a bit healthier. So I still want them to eat their bakeries and all of that, but how about they do it in a healthy way? Because I mean, you got cancer, you got all of these things that are happening in the community, people that are being overweight constantly. And so she started Healthy Bites to help the people in the community enjoy some treats without being unhealthy. And so that's what a business is. And she started selling, I think she sold to about 3 companies, her cakes that she makes, she sold it to about 3 companies at this point. And that's what it's all about. I want to say well done to you, Liema. I know there's a bit of a connection problem on your side, but I want to say well done to you. We appreciate what you're doing, and you are gonna change Kailicha. Do not stop, carry on. And she's only 15 years old. 15 years old. She will have, in my opinion, the experience of a CEO about 25 years old. She's gonna have, she would have failed. She would have enjoyed she would have experienced some betrayal, all the things that we hope you experience young enough, especially when you don't have any liabilities. The difference between Vikela and yourself, and you guys watching us right now, is that he can no longer afford to fail. He's got a kid. He's got a few kids. He's got a wife. He's got this beautiful office to maintain. He's got bills. He's got to pay teho. So he cannot really afford to fail just like you guys. You guys are the perfect stage where you can afford to fail and learn without any liabilities other than yourself. And that's why we want you guys to start. So good news for you is that Entrepreneur School has partnered with Value Aid, and some of the courses like mental health, you guys never knew that entrepreneurs needed mental health. You guys never knew that. Vikela was like, we go through so much, it's important for us to talk about our mental health. And these are some of the courses that are now available through Value Aid at Entrepreneur School. And so anybody interested in starting up entrepreneurship, we want you to right now, just type this, www.entrepreneurschool. And I'm going to encourage the admin to put it up on Facebook, www.entrepreneurschool.co.za. And our applications are open and they're going to be closed around the 20th of June. So you have about a month or 3 weeks left to apply and start this journey of discovering if you are an entrepreneur. And I bet that you might be surprised. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Vikela, we couldn't get through all the questions because the questions kept on coming from everybody online. Thank you so much, Tejo. I got another message from Melusi. Melusi says to Tejo, all of these encouragement, I want to put it here for you, Tejo. Melusi says, what an amazing webinar, truly inspired by what you do, Tejo. You really inspired me. And thank you, Vikela. You gave me a breath of fresh air. Thank you very much. And so there's many more of this. We just don't have the time to go through it, but it's going to be available on our page. And if you're only joining us now, all of this is available on the Entrepreneurs Facebook page. But I want to say thank you, Liema. I hope I did you justice. And thank you, Tejo. Thank you, Vikela. And this is not the last time we hear of each other, eh?
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
So, Vic, thank you, Tejo. Vic, what is your last advice right now to anybody wanting to become an entrepreneur as we leave? Any last advice?
So the last advice is definitely get the skills and training that your leadership school offers. And for those of you who are out there, take advantage of the opportunities. I know there's a lot of noise about, pessimisms and the difficulties, but this is one of the greatest times to be alive. The opportunities are endless, and it requires you to spend time consistently in trying to seek out those opportunities. Tseko's successes really have been in the fact that she's somebody who says, if I don't know what it is, I'll Google it and I'll find out. And I think if you use that kind of mindset in a very short space of time, you will find that your success will start being evident to you. So I'm wishing you all the best, but also we're here to support you whenever you need us. So get in touch with us and we will be very willing to help you along the way, whether it's just some words of advice or encouragement or anything else that you may require. But thank you for the opportunity.
Great. Last feedback. We can't wait to do the Value Aid courses as entrepreneurs. Thank you, Vikela. There you go. That's it. Vikela, you're amazing. Tejo, you're amazing. I'm going to see you again soon, but thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Take care. Thank you, everybody. All the best.
And while we're leaving, Vikela and Tejo are leaving, I just want to say thank you to the guys who interacted online. Thank you to all of you guys. It was amazing having you. And remember to sign up to apply to Entrepreneur School. You're going to find a wealth of courses available for you. Thank you to you, Liema. I'm sorry about your connection. Thank you to Garcia.
No
thank you to Melusi. Thank you to Fiona. Thank you to Richard. Thank you to all the guys who put comments and are sharing what we're doing within our school, within the community. Thank you, guys. And I'm hoping to hear from you guys when I see your applications to become an entrepreneur. All right. Bye-bye.